Good evening. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show. My name is Leon Jones. Tonight's topic, we're going to get into a little bit of sports. Now, as you know, right now, we are in the midst of the NFL football season, the college football season, NBA is going on, hockey is going on. We also have NCAA basketball going on. Now, I'm not going to get into NCAA basketball until March because that's when the big March Madness tournament comes about. But what I want to talk about tonight is college football. Is it time to expand the playoffs from 4 teams to 8 teams, or from 4 teams to 16 teams? And we're talking about in the FBS. That's the Football Bowl Conference with the Power 5. We're talking about the ACC, the Pac-12, the Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC. Now, those conferences are basically media driven because you have other conferences such as Conference USA, you have the AAC, which really was the old Big East, but the Big East powers, who were basketball only colleges, kept the Big East name, and the football teams who were in the Big East that had basketball programs like my alma mater, Temple University, went into the AAC, which is the American Athletic Conference. Now, the 27th began some of your, I call them the horrendous bowls, because to me, they really don't have any meaning. If you're not a Penn State, an Alabama, an Ohio State, a Michigan, what is their incentive to play for? What are you really playing for? Because right now, when I look at the college football bowls, these other bowls like the Military Bowl, the Independence Bowl, in my humble opinion, they're nothing bowls. The Motor City Bowl, they're coming up with different names. Not like the Peach Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl. But even with all these bowls, there isn't a playoff system that I'm happy with. And I'm talking about in the FBS. That's the Football Bowl system. Now, you want to know where there is a real playoff? It's in the FCS. That's the Football Conference System. That's where you have teams that aren't in the, I call them Power 5, and so many other divisions like the AAC. They're where your Villanovas are, those teams who don't go to bowls. But they have 24 teams who go into a championship. And we know who a winner is. Well, if they can do it, why can't the Power 5 teams do it, or the Power 5 conferences do it? Is it for money? TV revenue? Well, to make more money, people want to see more football. Now, this year was a perfect case for what would be a logical and fair formula in picking teams for an 8-team playoff. The Power 5 conference champions would receive an automatic entry in the field, as would the top-ranked group of 5 team, and the most deserving at-large teams would round out the field, just like they do in basketball. There would still be some teams in the league that would deserve to be in the field, but they wouldn't get their just due because of what we call RPI. That is your schedule. And that comes from who are you playing out of conference, just like the NCAA tournament. Now, if you're going to have a playoff, an 8-team playoff, then why don't they have something like the NIT? Now, I'm just giving you some ideas because college football is exciting until the bowls come up. We have way too many bowls, and most of them are boring. I want to see a real number one. Now, you had it when they had the other bowl system, the BCS system, which was horrendous, where the number two team played the number one. And prior to that, you had a conference championship, but you had no playoff. Now, if you had an 8-team or maybe a 10-team or 16-team, there wouldn't be a debate between Penn State or Washington or from the first year of the playoff, somebody like a TCU or an Ohio State. Conference titles would be inherently rewarded, and the committee can parse between fewer teams, allowing them to apply a clearer metric. And what I mean by the metric, we're going to talk about record, quality of wins, strength schedule, head-to-head, if applicable, when it comes time for the committee to select the teams to play in this tournament. You wouldn't have a debate at all. Now, it wouldn't be difficult to put on the playoff. There are already 6 games associated with the college football playoff. 4 games, which are bowl games. We're talking about the big bowl games, would host rounds 1 through 8. 2 games would be, or 2 teams would be in the semifinals, just like they do in the NCAA. And the larger field wouldn't do a thing to hurt the non-conference scheduling and the stronger games that we've seen as a byproduct of the playoff era. Schools would be foolish to jeopardize their at-large chances with weak non-conference schedules. Now, if you want to break it down, and I'm going to just look at everything that happened this year, the 8-team playoff would look like this. And these are real teams that I'm utilizing the new expanded system. You would have Alabama, which is the number 1 seed. They'd be playing the number 8 seed, Western Michigan. Number 2, Clemson, would be playing number 7, Oklahoma. The number 3 seed, which is Ohio State, would be playing the number 6 seed, and that's Michigan. It's nothing like a Michigan-Ohio State game. I'm in the Midwest, and the Big Ten rules in this area. And then last but not least, you'd have number 4, Washington, at number 5, Penn State. Who wouldn't sign up for that? In fact, you might even be able to interchange Ohio State and Penn State and just reward the conference championships. And when I mean the conference championships, I'm talking about the winner of the conference champions. Because Penn State didn't get into the playoff, but they won the conference. Doesn't make any sense to me. If you look at the NCAA basketball tournament, the team that wins the conference championship, guess what? They get an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. If we make everything like that, there would be no problem with drawing more TV revenue. Just like the NFL expanding to 18 games, and I think the NFL should also expand. Now, this is not about the NFL, so I'm going to go off topic a little bit. The NFL should also expand to a 16-team playoff. Basketball does it. Hockey does it. And this is how TV could get more revenue. Now, if you have teams like USC and Wisconsin, who always come up short, of course there's going to be some complaining, but utilizing this playoff format, if you schedule the right teams, and there's an RPI that utilizes a computer model, that's going to help the committee decide who is going to be part of the playoff system. Now, again, you can't base off computer models because they're not really that accurate. They're giving you a metric. It's just like the weather. Weather is forecast by utilizing computer models. Because here's the problem. You're always going to have some teams that believe they deserve to be in the playoff, but they didn't get there. Because if you really look at college football in a whole, college football is just another way for all these networks like ESPN and ABC and CBS and Fox Sports 1. It's about revenue. And sports draw a lot of ratings, even if they're bad ratings. And one thing I can tell you, football is the sport here in America. I'd say baseball would be a close second because it is a national pastime. But around this time of year, we like to see good football. And if the FBS teams, the power conferences, and some of the non-power conferences could come together and have a real playoff system, we could have a real championship. Because, again, the teams that aren't part of the Power 5 or bowl teams, Villanova, Towson, and we're talking about teams in the Colonial Athletic Conference, New Hampshire, Delaware. I don't know how they do it. They have 24 teams and a playoff system, but it's worked. D2, that's right, Division 2. I know when I attended Virginia Union University, they had a playoff system. Division 3. I mean, you see Mount Union there every year. It works. So why doesn't the Division 1 with the Power Conference have more teams going to the playoffs? Could it be the coaches? Could it be the bureaucracy? Because college football is very bureaucratic. In fact, they want to keep the same teams out front all the time because they're the money makers. But they don't give other teams who are not as popular a chance to rise because they don't want to play these teams. Again, does Temple want to play somebody like an Ohio State? They played Notre Dame and they lost to Notre Dame, but they gave Notre Dame a fight for their money. And this was last year. It could happen. Temple beat Penn State last year. They didn't beat them this year. They came close, but they fell behind early, lost by a touchdown. You have good teams outside the Power 5 conferences. You have good teams in the FCS. The question is the NCAA, not the NAACP, the NCAA going to have the gumption enough to have a playoff system? I want to see a real champion. I mean, yes, we have all these bowls coming up, big name bowls, Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl. But those bowls, you might as well just call those bowls the Military Bowl, the Independence Bowl, because you win, you get a trophy, that's good. But what does that really mean? You lose, what does it really mean? Temple lost the Military Bowl to Wake Forest. Yeah, Wake Forest had a 6-6 record. Temple had a 10-3 record. But if Temple won, okay, they would have won a little trophy for winning that bowl. Okay. They already won the AAC conference. But what is there to play for after that? You see, the reason why I'm bringing this topic up is because football and basketball programs are good promoters to get your schools heard of. Because if you have those two programs, you're going to be on national TV. And that's going to help recruiting. And it would also help some of these coaches stay at these schools like Temple, like Rutgers, and promote their programs by continually building their programs, getting the recruits in so they can beat top flight programs. See, what happens to schools, again, like Temple, I'm bringing up my alma mater because that's who I know. Well, the coach will come in, like Al Golden, Steve Adazio. It's like a playoff system when you lose the first game in the NFL playoffs. It's almost like one and done. They'll use schools like Temple, schools like UConn as stepping stones. Because the main focus of some of these coaches who come by the Temples, the UConns, the Houstons, the Central Floridas, the South Floridas, that's just to get them ready to go to the bigger programs. And who isn't crazy to take more money? But at the end of the day, these schools are very relevant. They have good academic programs, good sport programs. But you need the coaches to stay at these schools so they can bring in the recruit. And it also comes down to your AD, your athletic director. But I digress. Let me get back on topic. Having a real college football playoff is going to make college football more exciting. Let's have an NCAA tournament. Let's have a NIT tournament for the ones who don't get into the NCAA tournament like they do in basketball. And I'm going to tell you, college football will be up there in rankings with pro football because you think about it. Right in between the last game and the playoffs of the NFL football season, we have college football. And then once college football is finished playing, then we go to the NFL playoffs. And we'll ride that out until February. Then we have the Pro Bowl, and then baseball starts up. If you want my opinion, I like to see football all year round. A spring league like the USFL. There was one that was supposed to be coming out, and it wasn't going to be like the USFL in the 1980s. They lasted 2 years, and of course Donald Trump, who was owner of one of the teams, he wanted to go fall. That didn't last because they would have had to compete with the NFL. If they had stayed spring, that would have been a great league, but that would be another video. But again, I would like to see a real college football playoff with more than 4 teams. 8, 10, or maybe 16. Tell me what you think. And that is my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show for Thursday, December 29th, 2016. You can tune in to the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show now on Mondays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest call-in number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show on YouTube so I can continue to bring you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, we do not engage in the social or controversial issues. That's because the market is already saturated with other channels who are talking about those issues. Also, I do not engage in the drama or unwarranted bickering. This channel is strictly for educational purposes. I'm here to teach. I'll give you the real world and the academic world, how to fuse those two areas together so you'll understand how the real world works and you can get through the trials and tribulations that life is going to throw you. And it's going to throw you some curved balls. So I'm giving you the tools to be ready for the curved balls. So I keep everything realistic but positive. Remember, knowledge is power. And if you have a topic that you would like for me to discuss on the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show, whether it's here on YouTube or my Blog Talk Radio Show, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. I like comments. Leave them in the comments section. But make sure that your comments are pithy. no bloviating or pettifogging if you wish to opine. That's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other and have a wonderful and blessed night. Good night.